Shalom, Apostle Hawk coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kakwadash. And I'm going to entitle this video, excuse me, the U.S. and Russia are at war. Question mark. Anyway, what I did was put in Ukraine or Ukraine news. I was going to put in, but these, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Ukraine E. And I'll put in news. Let me see here. Okay, so it says, as of 12 hours ago, it says Ukraine Eastern region under siege. Ukraine pleads for help as war intensifies. Now, the US and the UK, those are the two main NATO nations that supply the people of or the government of Ukraine. Now, one of the articles I listened to or videos said that as of right now, 2022, year of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua turning up, that they donated, sent, whatever you want to call it, an aid in the form of dollars, almost $60 billion. And I mean, $60 billion is a lot of money. What happened to all that money? And weapons. So it says, and the money's for weapons. It says Ukraine pleads for help. They need more help. This is one day ago. Now they just got almost $60 billion from the US government. I don't know how much aid, whether the UK sent them aid in the form of money or in the form of weapons, but they're asking for help again, one day ago. It says Ukraine pleads for help as war intensifies. So Russia's not planning on slowing down or stopping anytime soon. It says Russians using food as weapon in eastern Ukraine. It says as the war in Ukraine continues, citizens are struggling to find food as Russian troops target grain silos and continue their blockade. You know, you got Jake, as I said in a previous video, Jake is clueless. Jake has no idea what's going on. Let me do this. Let me go to clueless. Clueless. I give you a damn movie. I do it this way. Clueless. I spelled that wrong. Clueless meaning. Clueless. Having no knowledge, understanding, or ability. You're clueless about how to deal with the world. What is a clueless person? Having or providing no clue a clueless case for the police to solve, to completely or hopelessly bewildered, unaware, ignorant, or foolish, clueless about what they want. Other words, from clueless, synonyms and antonyms, more examples, sentences learn about clueless. And the majority of the people in this country are clueless. They don't know what's going on. Does clueless mean dumb? Objective, stupid, thick, dull, naive, dim, dense, dumb, informal, simple-minded, dozy. Dullard should be put up in there. The majority of the people in this country and our people, Jakes, they have no idea what's going on. They're going up doing shopping like, prices are not going to go up, that there's not going to be food shortages. That's why when it actually comes, when they actually experience it, they're gonna lose it. They're gonna lose it, and Esau knows that. That's why ultimately they're gonna have to send in the National Guard, the military. They're gonna have to declare martial law. It's gonna be dead people in the street. When you get into this truth, the average person you don't even want to talk to. They're talking their, they're what do you call that? Small talk. You can't get into a deep conversation about the world, about scriptures, conspiracies, so forth, because then their brain, if their brain was an elevator, it would be broken in the basement. So it says, I'm back here, why Western weapons aren't reaching Ukrainian troops. And this was put up as of 2 hours ago. The Russian soldier pretended to be dead. Russia-Ukraine war news. Russia advances on eastern Ukraine. 3 hours ago. And if the US, UK failed to assist them, the war would have lasted maybe a week, maybe a month at most. So really, it's, when you say Russian-Ukrainian war, it's really a world war. It's really a world war. And ultimately, the US and Russia will lock horns, fulfilling prophecy that we all know about. Meanwhile, you got Jake with their head stuck up their asses. So the hell with them, forget them. Ukrainian servicemen fire a Grad rocket to Kharkiv. Russia used cluster munitions or cluster bombs in Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. This was 2 hours ago. This was as of 6 hours ago. The last hope for Ukraine is the deadly missile. Well, if they use an actual missile, then Russia's going to use or deploy their missiles. And that's when the war becomes a comes to a fast, a screeching stop. They said the Russian army is on alert. Russia-Ukraine war. And Russia, you know, for the longest has been known as a superpower. You got the US superpower, and you got Russia as a superpower, and now you have China as a superpower. And China, Russia and China are allies, part of the BRICS nations. Ask Jake on the street, what is your thoughts on the BRIC nations? So what's that? Ukraine war, weapons running out on southern front line. And like I said, the US, I'm not even talking about the UK, I'm talking about the US. 60 billion with a B, mostly in weapons. And it says here, weapons running out on southern front line. "33 minutes ago, live now, Russia, Ukraine crisis, day 110, update, China, India, USA, Biden, latest news, Hindi. 3 hours ago, Ukraine artillery strikes leaves Russian vehicle mangled wrecks. Our 15-year-old Ukrainian drone pilot helped destroy a Russian army column. Yeah, because these men don't want to fight. So what they're doing, they're drafting men as young as 15 years old. So they're desperate. And Russia's not slowing down or stopping anytime soon. They want the whole country. They want that whole country back. Ukraine was formerly a part of the Soviet Union, so the Most High put hooks in the jaw of the leader of Russia to bring that assembly of nations from the North country back together. Fareed's take, Russia is key to America's China strategy. He has the best show, this guy, Fareed, what's his name? Sakaria, I think it is. He has a #1 show on, to me, I don't get a chance to watch it, but when I get a chance to watch it, I watch it. He goes into a lot of geopolitics, global politics. He doesn't deal with local news, finance on a global scale. Turkey's concern on Finland, because Finland and Sweden, they put in paperwork, let's say, to become a part of NATO. But Turkey's, they're blocking it. And you have to have all existing NATO nations agree on having other nations join NATO. Turkey is part of NATO, but Turkey is not a part of the EU. So they have their own money system. So it says Turkey's concern on Finland, Sweden membership are legitimate, says NATO chief. 8 hours ago, this was put up. A Russian missile hit city of, what is this? Kharkiv, I think you pronounce it. Russia solidifies its presence in Ukraine as Russian forces blow up a key bridge. So the Ukraine is being broken down. So we almost out of here, man. I see a lot of things happening inside of the next 6 months, the next year. We could be out of here, most high willing. And sometimes in 2023. Everything's moving fast. The Lord said, I beheld Satan fall as lightning. Just 2 hours ago, the sun, Ukraine forces destroyed 3 Russian multiple rocket launches in Severodonetsk. Putin compares himself to Peter the Great. Now, he could be Peter the Great. He could be Peter the Great. There's a thing, so that, you know what? There's a thing called reincarnation, a regeneration in the scriptures. He was one of those important men back in the past. Russia's war in Ukraine, how far will Putin go? In Russia, Vladimir Putin has openly compared himself to the 18th century Russian Tsar Peter the Great, drawing a parallel. So he could very well be Peter the Great. A lot of history in Russia. Russians using food as weapon in eastern Ukraine. Ukrainian pilots film endearing low-flying maneuvers. Ukraine President Zelensky calls for more arms supplies as fighting intensifies in eastern Ukraine. Where do you think he's going to get those supplies from? From Europe? From the UK and the US. Now, in one of the videos I showed you a couple of minutes ago, it said that they're running out of weapons. They got $60 billion worth of weapons. How can you run out of them that quick? How united on Ukraine is the EU. So they're at the NATO is at war with Russia, but how can I say, they're using the Ukraine as a front. This is definitely, the US declared war against Russia by supplying Russia's enemy. Russia-Ukraine war news, a call for mobilization in Russia. Russia-Ukraine war, this is as of 9 hours ago. Russia-Ukraine war is over. Russia-Ukraine war news. War News, war could be over by May, says Zelensky. We're in June, so Ukraine's eastern region under siege. That's 12 hours ago, ABC News. The only way Russia will, stop the bombardment, the attack, is for Ukraine to either be totally destroyed and or a surrender. It says Ukraine one day ago, Ukraine pleads for help as war intensifies. Ukraine, another one. Ukrainian forces target a Russian line of trenches and camouflage dugouts. How the Ukrainian war is impacting global grain supplies. Yeah, this war does it. The food prices going up and the shortages. Part of the reason why that's happening is because of this war. When there's a major war with major nations, it affects other countries. It affects the world. Ukrainian forces rain missiles on Russian positions in South Ukraine. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. As of one day ago, Russian forces attacked Ukraine cities, food and water sources. There's a term, food as a weapon. You don't got to drop one bomb, just tell them you ain't gonna get no food. You're gonna starve to death. You're gonna die a slow death. A wife of Russian journalist against invasion jailed in Russia speaks out. See what's happening near the front lines of Putin's war. The gravitas. Russia takes Ukraine's last eastern stronghold. Zelensky sounds alarm over battle for key city. And they got to hold down Kiev because once that's the capital, once they take Kiev, that's it. This was as of 4 days ago, so this is old news. The Russians should do their homework and oust Putin, says Ukraine advisor. Well, they're not going to do that. They're saying that the guy's dead and there's a double. Ukraine had outnumbered in Severodonetsk as Russia withdraws Black Sea ships. Ukraine outnumbered. And I read this, I saw this video. These are, what do you call it? Javelin missiles, I think you call it. Now, the problem is they need batteries to work it, and they're running out of batteries. So they have to take, if you watch the story, so they're taking motorcycle batteries to use to trigger these javelins. Ukrainian forces lacking essential equipment. Russia's war as of 3 days ago, DW News out of Germany. It says Russia's war on Ukraine. Does China hold the cards? Because if it intensifies and NATO gets involved, then China will get involved on the side of Russia. So World War III is around the corner. Actually, it's next door. There it goes again. Putin likens himself to Peter the Great. Ukrainian military running out of ammunitions. I mean, how much money, will the U.S. United States give? I mean, are you going to start giving them trillions? And this guy right here, the leader, Zelensky, he's really sacrificing his people. It says here, as of 13 hours ago, CBS Evening News, the Russians use food as weapon in eastern Ukraine. Russia-Ukraine war is over. Russia-Ukraine war news. UK to send first long-range missiles to Ukraine. So the US and the UK are at war, which means that the NATO is at war with Russia. They just haven't locked horns yet. This is a major city. Ukraine. Zelensky says defense of Donbas cities is holding. That's a major stronghold. Ukraine war, U.S. weapons fired at the front line in eastern Donetsk region. And this is how war works. They take down city by city, region by region. It says live, Ukrainian forces holding on in key Donbas. Donbas is a major region. Kyiv is the capital. Battles, Zelensky says. An inflection point, how the next 100 days may look in Ukraine. The war might be over. So we're talking about a little bit more than 3 months. It's June, July, August, September. Russia claims control over parts of Donbass, Luhansk region of Ukraine. Ukraine called for more aid, meaning money from the US and the UK, as fighting intensifies. Is Russia stealing grains from Ukraine? Oh, this is some good. This is some new news. As of 4 days ago, Ukrainian mayor Volodymyr Strok, who supported the Russian occupation, was found dead. They just killed this guy. British fighters captured in Ukraine sentenced to death. So you have these mercenary soldiers from the UK fighting the war. They're gonna put them to death quick. They're not gonna be on death row for the next 20, 30 years. They're gonna put them to death quick. And the UK would have to respond to that. The Most High's bring up, hey, what did I say? I will put hooks in their jaw, or hooks in his jaw. Ukraine awaits aid and arms from the UK and US, and ultimately, the UK is going to come against the US. Revelation 17. So let's go from here. What I did was I made it easy on myself. I simply typed in the word war. War comes up 225 times in 220 verses. So obviously I'm not going to read all these verses. Let me go to let me open up with this one. Psalm 68, verse 30. Rebuke the company of spearmen, the modern day spear. I showed you one of the news clippings. It was called a javelin, which is nothing but a spear. It's a modern day spear. The spearmen also represent, the spear also represents the missiles. The multitude of the bulls with the calves of the people, till everyone submit himself with pieces of silver scattered down the people that delight in war. So the Most High is going to do away with this warlike nation, people. Esau. Psalms 120, verse 7, I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. Psalms 140, verse 2, which imagine mischief in their heart, that's Esau, continually are they gathered together for war. And when you go to the beginning, when Esau first came over here, it's been nothing but war. He's just declared, the first thing he did, Christopher Columbus did, was declare war on the natives, the Israelites, the Northern Kingdom, the conquistadors. So from the time they came over here to the New World, all they did was engage in wars. It said, blessed, 144 verse 1, Psalms, a Psalm of David, blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. That's martial arts. Proverbs 20, verse 18, every purpose is established by counsel, and with good advice make war. So when you declare war against another nation, you got to plan for it. Sometimes it could take years. It's the opening. The talks in the news is China will China invade Taiwan, and Taiwan is an ally to the U.S., so the U.S. will have to get involved. And he even said that if China, attacks Taiwan in any way, we're going to do something about it. So eventually, U.S. they'll get involved 100% with this war, with this third war. We're in the third world war, the third woe. The third woe cometh quickly. We're in the third woe. It says here, Isaiah 2:4, they shall learn war no more. That's when the kingdom is established. So the people over there in our land, the small hats, that's not a fulfillment of the Lord's people going back to the land of Israel, Palestine. Jeremiah 48 verse 14. How say ye, we are mighty and strong men for war? And I'm gonna tell you right now, if they declare war on Russia, they enter into the war, which ultimately they're gonna do, the Northern Army in Joel 2, you're gonna have to declare a draft because, Americans are used to sleeping late, working on jobs, having a good time, especially Esau and a lot of Jakes too. And if they declare war and they, call for a draft, you're gonna have a lot of people protesting against that draft. The scriptures speak about them becoming women in Nahum, for one in Jeremiah. So you got these Russians and these other nations. They love war, man. They're battle hardened. Jeremiah 49 verse 26. Therefore, her young men shall fall in her streets, and all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord of hosts. So when the time of Jacob's trouble comes, we get delivered. When the angels come, with the Lord and the angels come back, they're going to declare war against Esau's world, Esau's realm, Babylon. They're going to destroy Babylon and any other nation that attempts to come up against the Lamb. And after that, there's not going to be no war. Lahab or Elder Lahab, he said, well, after 1,000 years in the kingdom of Esau is going to, come back together. No, that's not going to happen. Esau will be done away with. Esau will be no more. Read Job chapter 20. Read Obadiah 1 verse 18. Jeremiah 50, verse 30. Therefore, and I'm gonna say this for you guys that don't know what's going on, you guys that came into Israel and you're supposed to be on fire, man. And if I do one video today, I know through the spirit that I'm gonna do another video later today when the spirit jumps on me. It says Jeremiah 50, verse 30, therefore shall her young men fall in the streets. Well, that's Joel. I'm thinking about Joel 2, the northern army. And all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Yahweh. So the kingdom's gonna come in through a war that you can't compare to any time in history. The time of Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah 51, verse 32, and that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. When they see those missiles arcing down on you from the sky, they're gonna bug out. A lot of people are gonna catch heart attacks. They're gonna stroke out. You're gonna shit on yourself. You're gonna pee on yourself. And now NASA, they're pretty much, they're saying, look, there are UFOs out there because there's so many of them. They shall enter into the house of the thief. Yeah, it says Daniel 7, verse 21. And the way they took us down was through war. I beheld, in the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. The saints of the Most High. Let me go to that. What ultimately is going to happen? I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hairs of his head like the pure wool, showing you that the Most High had a big afro. The so-called, the Most High, if he came down as a man, which he did in this vision, will come down as a black man. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels are as burning fires. That's those UFOs. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. That's poetic. They're not going to open up. Okay, open up the books. It's just talking about the record. They got the record on Esau. I beheld them because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, which is America. I beheld even till the beast was slain. We know what the beast is. NATO and the EU. And his body destroyed and given to the burning pot of fire. What part of the beast is going to be given to the burning fire? Babylon. As concerning the rest of the beasts, the other nations, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. That's slavery, because all the nations are coming under us. '18 verse, but the saints of the Most High shall what? Take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and forever. So how in the hell can Esau regroup and take us down 1,000 years in the future? Joel 2, Joel 3, Micah 2 and 8. You really got to read Joel 2 from the first verse, but I'm at the 7th verse. They shall run like mighty men. It's talking about the missiles. They shall climb the wall like men of war. Those are the missiles. And they shall march everyone in his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty man, let the men of war draw near, let them come come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Assemble yourself and come, all ye heathen. All heathen are talking about the nations, all these different nations. They're going to go down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. They're going to go down into the interiors of the great Levant, the Fertile Crescent, the Middle East. So keep your eyes on the Middle East and gather yourself together round about to cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. The mighty ones are the angels. When you go to Revelation 9 and you go to Revelation 16, they speak about the angels and the great river Euphrates. Well, it speaks about the river Euphrates in Revelation 16 being dried up, and in Revelation 9, it speaks about the angels. Then in Revelation 7, it speaks about the angels holding back the four winds, that the wind doesn't hurt the earth until the 144,000 are sealed. And the multitude of the elect, they're going to be sealed too. Let the heathen, the other nations, be awake. And then you know what? It tells you in Isaiah the 13th chapter, anyone that is joined unto them shall be thrust through with the sword. That's talking about our people that involve themselves in this war. They're going to be destroyed because they don't understand the scriptures. They don't know that the Israelites, they just know that they're American citizen or a citizen of the UK or whatever. And they want to appease Esau. So they're going to go over there, Joel 2, and they're going to remain over there. They're going to become a part of that earth because they're not going to bring the bodies back, because there's not going to be any bodies to bring back. It said, let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, meaning Yahweh's judgment. Oh, you can ask the GOCC, they say the Most High's name is not Yahweh. Well, what does Yahweh Shaphat mean? What does Yahweh mean in Yahweh Shaphat? That ain't the GOCC, ain't nothing but a church organization with an Israelite flip. And I said this before, the Most High is going to destroy all these churches, and he's going to destroy all the people that attend those churches. You don't care if you're an old woman, 90 years old, you're going to get destroyed. The children, pregnant women. The Most High sent out his prophets to prophesy, hard against the people. And in one way or another, if you have a World Wide Web, you came across videos on Israelites, the former one Westers. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, put ye in the sickle. That's Revelation 14. Also Matthew 13:38, verse 38 on down. For the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. That's the wine press. The fats overflow. The fat is the liquid that comes out of the grapes to make wine. So the Most High compares that liquid from the grapes, you're the grapes, and the liquid from the grapes, which is becomes wine, that's going to be your blood. Isaiah 63. But their wickedness is what is great. They pass laws to protect you know, those people. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near. In the valley of decision, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Because the missile is going to make everything dark. Who said that? It was a John on the Isle of Patmos. I saw the stars fall from heaven, meaning he saw missiles falling to heaven. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahweh will be the hope of his people, which are Israelites, no other nation. The Most High only came for the sons of Israel and the strength of the children of Israel. Well, it tells you that. So if you don't know who the people are, it tells you that in the next line. The strength of the children of Israel. And that word right there is sons of Israel, which represent women, children. So shall ye know that I am Yahweh, your power dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, which are the people, and there shall no strangers, other nations, pass through her anymore. Well, that's a cut on 1,000. They're going to regroup and they're going to come back according to what Lahab said. It says this, it says, be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. And this is the kingdom. A few words on the kingdom. 18th verse. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, which is the kingdom, which is the true wine represent philosophies. It's going to be the true philosophy, the truth. And the hills shall flow with milk, a land flowing with milk and honey. So the kingdom is going to be played out on the earth and in the heavens. And all the rivers of Judah shall flow with water, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of Yahweh, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation. What does it mean by Egypt? They ain't talking about ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt is still going to be there. It's talking about the new Egypt, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, and Edom. And it says Egypt, and then it mentions Edom. It's talking about you people. You know who you are. You heard it enough. And Edom shall be a what? A desolate wilderness. Another word for Babylon the Great is also the land of Edom. Isaiah 34, wilderness, for the violence against the children or the sons of Judah. Why didn't it say Israel? Because Israel was taken down out of the land by the hands of the Assyrians. The kingdom of Judah was left there under the conquest of the Babylonians, and Esau was a part of it. Esau was, the Edomites were the one that burnt down the temple. That's in the Apocrypha. It says, because they have shed innocent blood in their land, but Yahweh, Judah, shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. So ain't nobody gonna rise up. I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.